Hello Legacy students, Marsh here. So what we're going to look at today is polynomial long division. So basically we're going to go back to 6th grade, kinda. So you're going to want to have your notes, pen or pencil, and then you definitely want to listen to audio if you're not listening to me already, okay? Because otherwise you're going to be super confused. So remember 6th grade, we would divide this. And remember, basically the questions we always asked ourselves was 37 went into 49 how many times? Well, you found it was one time. So then you did 1 times 37, and then you subtracted it, right? And you got a number of 12 down there, because 49 minus 37 is 12. Then you took the 0 and dropped it down, because 37 didn't go into 12, right? So then you said, how many times does 37 go into 120? And you said, oh, that's 3 times. So then you did 3 times 37, and you got 111. And then you got a 9 after subtracting. Then you took that 2, dropped it all the way down, right? And you said 37 goes into 92 twice, which gave you a number of 74. And then you would get 18, and then you took the 3, dropped it down, and the 37 goes into 183 4 times, and that would give you 148 down there, and then you subtracted, and you got a 35 at the bottom. Now remember, in the beginning when you started learning division, you put remainder 35, right? Do you remember the R, remainder? Well, then you kind of grew up a little bit and you realized, well, we could just put that 35 over what we were dividing by, that 37. So you're going to want to keep this in mind when we're doing it with polynomials. So basically, equations with very large number of terms. Same process, though, you're going to use. So basically, you're going to want to ask yourself to find these numbers that go up here. What times x will give me x squared? Or what is x squared divided by x? That's another way to think about it. I like to think of what times x is going to give me x squared. Well, x times x will give me x squared, right? So I'm going to put an x up here. Now what you're going to need to do is multiply this by these two terms. So let's do that. X times x squared, that is x times x is x squared. Then I'm going to do x times 1, and I'm going to get positive x, right? But now remember, you always subtracted after you multiplied to your number, right? So we're going to subtract our two numbers. Notice I'm changing the signs of the two. You don't need to do that if you want to keep in mind that you're subtracting. I forget a horrible amount of times. So I'm going to put that negative there just so I remember I'm subtracting. So x squared minus x squared, that's gone. 3x minus x, that's going to give me 2x. Now what I need to do is drop the 5. Just like that. Now let's figure out what times x. So what times x will give me 2x. Well, plus 2, right? 2 times x will give me 2x. So let's multiply. 2 times x is 2x, and 2 times 1 is a positive 2. Now remember, you got to subtract it, so let's subtract. 2x minus 2x is 0. 5 minus 2 is 3. Since I have dropped everything down, this is a remainder. But we are smart. Remember, we're not going to put R3. What we're going to do is we're going to put what we get from remainder over what we divided by. So it is going to be 3 over x plus 1. So what did we just find? Basically, if I take this times x plus 1, I should get this underneath the radical done, back out. It's going to take you a little longer to multiply by. I understand that. So trust me on this one. There's other ones that I will show you that are going to be easier to be able to multiply to make sure it actually does work out. Let's try another problem. So this one's just a little bit more beefy because I have 2x plus 1 divided by 2x to the 4th plus x to the 3rd minus 2x squared plus 9x plus 5. Whew, that's a mouthful. So now, let's ask ourselves the question. 2x times something needs to give me 2x to the fourth. Well, 2 times 1 will give me 2, so I know I'm going to have a 1 up there. How many more x's do I need? So x times something needs to give me x to the fourth. Well, I already have 1x, so I need 3 more x's, right? To get to the x to the fourth. So let's multiply. 1x cubed times 2x squared is 2x to the fourth. These should always be the same sign and the same overall, just basically the same. Because otherwise, when you subtract, it's going to be different signs then. Now let's continue. 1x cubed times 1 is a positive 1x cubed. Now I need to subtract, right? So let's subtract those two. 2x to the fourth minus 2x to the fourth. Gone. X cubed minus 1x cubed. That's gone too. So I am left with absolutely nothing. Let's drop this guy down. And I think I want to drop that 9x down as well, because I know I'm going to get 2 things when I multiply, right? So I need enough to be able to do everything to it. So I need to have 2 spaces to deal with, because I'm going to get 2x squareds in a 9 or an x squared term and just an x term when I multiply now. So now let's ask our question. What times 2x will give me negative 2x squared? Well, I know it's going to be a negative 1, right? And I need 1 more x to give me that x squared, right? So negative 1x times 2x is negative 2x squared. Look again, these are the same sign. Don't forget about that. And then negative 1x times that 1 is negative 1x. See, it was a good thing to bring down that 9x at the same time, right? Now, don't forget, change your signs. So I'm going to make those both positive. So negative 2x squared plus 2x squared, gone. Looks like I get 10x right there. Take that 5, drop them all the way down. 2x times what will give me 10x? Times 5, right? So 5 times 2x is 10x. 5 times 1 is 5. Don't forget, change those signs, otherwise they won't cancel. So 10x minus 10x, 5 minus 5. Big whopping 0 with absolutely no remainder. Wonderful. So what we have found, if I multiply 2x plus 1 by x cubed minus 1x plus 5, I will get the dividend right here, the number underneath the divisor sign. Alright, let's try another one. So I'm going to divide x to the fourth minus x cubed minus 5x squared minus x minus 6 by x squared plus 1. So let's put my house here. X to the fourth minus x cubed minus 5x squared minus x minus 6. Now, notice something, guys. I'm missing something. I am missing my x term. You're going to want to be careful. So let's do it this way. I'm going to actually put a placeholder for him of 0x. So that way I don't forget about him. Otherwise, you're going to get a little messed up. It's best to put a placeholder while you're learning the skill. And as you grow older, or once you keep continuing using this in your further math classes, you might not need that placeholder. But I recommend, as you are learning this concept, you're going to want him. You're going to forget about him possibly, and he's going to possibly mess up your problem. So I would put the placeholders where you need him, okay? So then let's ask our questions. X squared times something needs to give me x to the fourth. Well, we know that's x squared, right? So x squared times x squared is x to the fourth. Here's when that placeholder is going to come in here. So x squared times 0x, well, that is 0x cubed, right? And then x squared times 1 is 1x squared. Let's change all my signs here. These are gone. Looks like I'm left with negative x cubed here. Negative 6x squared looks like. Let's take that negative x and drop him down. So, x squared times something needs to give me negative 1x cubed. Well, need that negative 1, right? And then an x. because I have already 2 x's and I need 3, so I need 1 more x. So negative 1x times x squared is negative x cubed. Remember, these two need to match in sign and in number. Negative 1x times 0x is negative 0x squared, really, right? And then negative 1x times a positive 1 is negative 1x. So, remember, change all your signs. Gone. I'm left with negative 6x squared. Ooh, that's gone too. That's pretty cool. Let's make that a plus 0x so I don't forget about it. Because I got to drop down this negative 6. And I know I'm going to be getting an x ultimately, an x term. So let's keep it there just so I don't mess up. So, now, what times x squared needs to give me a negative 6x squared? Negative 6, right? So negative 6 times x squared is negative 6x squared. Negative 6 times 0x is 0x. Negative 6 times a positive 1 is negative 6. Change my signs. Don't forget about that. Gone. That's 0x. I'm lucky, guys. We hit another 0 remainder. So if I multiply x squared plus 1 by x squared minus 1x minus 6, I will get this beautiful polynomial underneath for my answer. And the final polynomial division we're going to look at. And you need to be super careful with this one. So I have x to the 4th minus 10x squared plus 3, and we're going to divide by x minus 3. So let's put in our box here. X to the 4th. Hold on, I'm missing an x cubed, aren't I? Whoop, and I'm also missing an x. Let's put some placeholders in. So I got 0x cubed minus 10x squared plus 0x plus 3, and I'm going to divide by x minus 3. Okay, and there's nothing missing here, so I don't need to worry about that. So x times something needs to give me x to the 4th, x cubed, right? So x cubed times x is x to the 4th. X cubed times negative 3 is negative 3x cubed. Don't forget, change your signs. That's gone. I'm going to get 3x cubed. Let's take that negative 10x squared and drop him down. X times something needs to give me 3x cubed. Well, I know I need a 3. And I know I need 2 more x's, right? Because 3 times 1 will give me 3, x squared times x will give me x cubed. So, I know I'm going to get 3x cubed down here. 3x squared times negative 3 is negative 9x squared. Almost messed up there. Don't forget to change your signs. So I'm gone there, negative 1x squared left behind. Let's drop that 0x down to the bottom. Something times x needs to give me negative 1x squared, so I know I need a negative 1x, right? So negative 1x times x is negative 1x squared. Negative 1x times a negative 3 is a positive 3x. Change my signs. Gone. Negative 3x is left behind. Drop that 3 all the way down to the bottom. Whew, almost done. Negative, or x times something needs to give me negative 3x. Already have the same number of x's, just need that negative 3, right? So negative 3 times x is going to give me negative 3x. Negative 3 times a negative 3 is a positive 9. Change my signs. Gone, and I have a negative 6 left behind for my remainder. So, let's write it. Negative 6 over what I divided by, x minus 3. Final answer. X cubed plus 3x squared minus 1x minus 3 minus 6 over x minus 3. And that's the end of this video. We'll go over some in class just in case you have any questions, but until then, see you later, Sabers.